What's going on, you guys? We got another guest artist video. In this video, we got Julius. He's the owner of the gallery DTLA. He's a very dope black and gray artist. You guys are gonna love this video. Without further ado, I was gonna keep talking, but without further ado, here he is.
What's good, everybody? My name is Julius, and today we'll be finishing up a dope piece on a good friend of mine, Adrian. It's a geisha bonded in rope, tied upside down, and I can't wait to finish this piece. Let's get into it. So you can see me right here opening up 2-inch grips. They're disposable, they're from Bishop. I like using the 2-inch grips just because I feel it gives me more of a, it just forces me to be more finesse, you know? It doesn't allow my hand to be so stiff if I'm holding like a smaller grip, which I feel sometimes I do. I use Bishop's packer and shader. The packer is a 4.2 stroke, which hits a little heavier, and the shader's a 3.5. I feel it's very beneficial to have two machines that hit differently and that have different strokes. The packer for, you know, darker, more saturated areas, and it gets the ink there faster without causing too much trauma to the skin. And I love using the shader, the 3.5 stroke, because it hits softer and allows for those like buttery blends, those nice transitions and stuff. I make my own dilutes. I use Big Sleep's ink, Killer Bees black. My dilutes are full black, and then it's 1 drop for my first lightest cap, 6 drops for my mid-tone, and half the cap for my darkest dilute. You can see here I'm using my packer to, you know, get my heavy darks that I want in this piece. This is our second session on this piece. I like taking my time, and you know, if it needs a second session, a second pass, I'm all for that. I definitely don't want to scar the skin, and I always feel that it's always better to come back at a piece instead of trying to rush something and get it done the first time around. If you can't do it, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Just take your time and trust the process. In the end, you know, everything will work out if you truly believe in your process, and just take your time with it. My needle groupings, I believe this needle I'm using right here is a 7-round liner bug pin. For this piece, I used the 3-round liner standard quadrant, 7-round liner bug pin tight, and I use 13 mags curved bug pins and a 9 mag curved bug pin. Right here still using nothing but solid blacks. I like to run my packer at about an 8.0 volts. I think anything higher than that is a little too aggressive. Probably cuts the skin too much, gives a lot of trauma. You can also follow me on Instagram. My IG handle is Julius, Julius _ Cordero, Cordero. Right here I'm using my shader. I'm doing a pendulum motion. I feel it gets a very buttery texture when you kind of whip in that kind of manner. And for heavy, like for heavy, dark, heavy shadows under those, you know, ropes that she has around her body, bonded around her body, I like using like a 9-round liner usually, or a 7-round liner, and just get in there very solid and a hard, solid black line, you know? It'll still give that whole nice, sharp shadow effect right under those ropes that she has tied around her body. I've tried using the, I think they're like 1-inch Bishop disposables, and they're cool, but again, I just feel my hand gets a little, I hold it too tight sometimes, so having a fatter grip allows me to not be so, I guess, aggressive with my hand. It also lets me see my needle a little easier, especially when I'm getting into tight areas like that. This is a very like small piece with a lot of small details. You can see right there around the fingers and stuff like that. I'll start using my shader with the liner, just to finesse it, you know, just to get in there. It hits very soft, so it's a very forgiving machine. It allows you to build, and I fuck with that a lot. Again, this is our second session. I think the last time I tattooed this was almost probably like about a year ago. Over a year ago. And you can see right there I'm using my shader with the 3-round liner on top of those ropes, right? So under those ropes for the shadows I use the 7-round tight liner for those solid blacks. And on top I'll probably use like my mid-tone with my shader. Just to get a nice crispy thin line, not dark, not heavy, but just sharp enough to understand that it connects the whole rope. It makes the rope look finesse and not just heavy fucking lines or too heavy lines. So just a very heavy line on the bottom of the ropes and a nice thin, solid, sharp finesse line on top of each rope. I also like hitting, after I cut a certain area, I like hitting it with some Bacting, letting it sit. I'll probably let it sit for about 5-10 minutes. I feel like you can see where there are patches after you let it sit for a bit, you know? Once the skin calms down, isn't so irritated, you can go ahead and kind of, I don't know, adjust for those things and see where you need to blend in a little more, where you didn't saturate too thoroughly. And here you go with my whites. This is probably, well, this is definitely towards the end of the tattoo. For my white, for the needle, for my white highlights, I used a 7-round liner, and I thought that was a good choice just because the width of each rope is a little too thick for me to want to use a 3-round liner. I feel that probably wouldn't stand out or show what I would want it to show, or how I would want you to view the ropes that bind her. So I think a 7-round liner for this piece is perfect. Again, these are quadrants. For the most part I use bug pins, but I believe this liner isn't a bug pin. I just took it out too, so it wasn't in my initial setup. I think total collectively for this piece was about maybe like 13 hours, like 16 with breaks and all that shit. I'll try to do 2 passes on when I do white highlights just so I don't scar the skin. I don't want the skin to turn yellow too. I think like after you do more than 2 passes, you know, the blood starts mixing with the white ink and it gives this like off-white, creamy colored. I don't fuck with that too much. So, you know, 2 passes, nice and solid, you know, confident. I feel that does it for me at least. Nice and solid, just confident, you know, just go with the motion, feel it. I usually use Dynamic for my white highlights, Dynamic ink, just for my highlights. I always use Big Sleep's Killer Bees Black for my black and gray work. In this case, I use Star Bright White. I really like how the whites are staying in there, how they're coming out. And sometimes I'll notice my needle get gunky too, so you know, sometimes I'll notice like the ink will start splashing back with the white, especially with white ink because it dries up faster. So I think it's very important to understand sometimes too when that's happening to go ahead and take your cartridge out, you know, and just clean the tip of that needle, you know, take any gunk that you feel it's on there, you know. And we'll start hitting it right again. And if not, then just change out the needle. That's totally fine too. As far as my caps, I like using 22, number 22 caps, which are the fattest caps I believe Nuclear makes. They're not the fattest caps Nuclear makes, but I like using 22s. I know they have fatter caps too for shovels and shit, but for the most part I use 22 caps. And again, my dilutes are full black, 1 drop, 6 drops, and then half the cap, and that just fill it in with water. I usually use blue soap, to clean the skin. In this case, I was using green soap. I still fuck with it. The ointment that I'm using is my homie's ointment, Tana Ink ointment, vegan. Very good ointment, lasts forever. A little goes a long way. You can use it before, during, and after your tattoo. And yeah, here's the finished result. I'm really happy with it. I'm super happy with it. Yeah, so this is the end of it. I'm really happy with the way it came out. Again, I'm here guest spotting. I'm from LA. We have a private studio in downtown. It's called the Gallery Detail LA with my team. Beautiful bunch of diverse artists. I'm very thankful that Angela has me here, guest spotting with him and his beautiful team, dog. They get down. We'll be coming back soon, for sure, 100%. And I think our next area that we'll be traveling to will be Chicago, New York, New Orleans, and Europe for sure. We'll be hitting Europe for more conventions this year for sure. But nonetheless, thanks again. Thanks for watching. My name is Julius Cordero. My handle is Julius, Julius _Cordero, Cordero. And I hope y'all enjoyed yourselves. Thank you.